The Hesperides as nymphs of the West were intrinsically linked to the concepts of evening, sunset, and the edge of the known world. Their very name, derived from the Greek word Hesperos, meaning evening or west, reinforces this connection. They were personifications of the fading light, the transition from day to night, and the mysterious realm that lay beyond the setting sun. This association with the West gave them a liminal quality, placing them on the boundary between the familiar and the unknown, the world of the living and the realm of myth and legend. This western location also contributed to the mystique and allure of their garden. Situated at the edge of the world, it was a place of wonder and enchantment, a paradise-like setting far removed from the everyday world of mortals. The setting sun, with its vibrant colors and ethereal light, further enhanced the garden's magical atmosphere, creating an image of a distant and unattainable realm of beauty and immortality. The Hesperides, as guardians of this enchanted place, embodied the beauty and mystery of the western horizon. Their association with evening and sunset also connects them to themes of endings, transitions, and the passage of time. The setting sun symbolized the end of the day, the close of a cycle, and the transition into darkness. The Hesperides, therefore, are not just guardians of a physical location, but also guardians of this threshold between night and day. This connection to time and transition adds another layer to the depth of their symbolic significance, linking them to the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. The Hesperides' primary duty and the defining characteristics of their existence was the guardianship of the golden apples of immortality. These apples, often described as glowing with an otherworldly light, were not ordinary fruit. They held the power to grant eternal life to those who consume them. This made them an object of immense desire and a symbol of the ultimate human aspiration to conquer death. The Hesperides were entrusted with this invaluable treasure, making them key figures in the mythology surrounding immortality and the pursuit of the divine. The importance of their task is underscored by the presence of Ladon, the 100-headed dragon, or serpent, who served as an additional guardian. This creature, never sleeping and ever vigilant, provided an extra layer of protection against those who might seek to steal the apples. The combination of the beautiful nymphs and the fearsome dragon emphasizes the sacred and protected nature of the garden and its precious contents. It highlights the lengths to which the gods went to safeguard the apples of immortality, demonstrating their immense value. And the Hesperides' role as guardians is not merely a passive one. They actively protected the guardian and his precious fruit. While some accounts portray them as simply tending to the orchard, others depict them as actively defending it against intruders. Their guardianship symbolizes the difficulty of attaining immortality and the challenges that must be overcome to achieve it. The golden apples therefore represent not just eternal life, but also the arduous journey and the obstacles that stand in the way of achieving such a lofty goal. The Hesperides, as their guardians, embody the challenges and trials that must be faced in the pursuit of the divine. The Hesperides' parentage is a point of variation in Greek sources, highlighting the fluid and evolving nature of mythological narratives. While the most prevalent tradition identifies them as daughters of Atlas and Hesperis, other accounts offer alternative genealogies. This discrepancy in their lineage underscores the complexities of Greek mythology, where different poets and storytellers often presented conflicting versions of the same myths. The most common account of their parentage connects them to Atlas, the titan condemned to hold up the sky for eternity. This association with Atlas, a figure of immense strength and endurance, further emphasizes the Hesperides' connection to the western edge of the world where Atlas was believed to stand. Their mother is often named Hesperis, who is herself a personification of the evening or the west. This pairing reinforces their roles as nymphs of the sunset and guardians of the western realm. However, other traditions offer different parentage for the Hesperides. Some sources say Zeus, the king of the gods, and Themis, the goddess of divine law and order, were their parents. This alternative lineage elevates their status, connecting them directly to the Olympian pantheon and imbuing them with a sense of divine authority. Themis' association with law and order could also be interpreted as a symbolic link to the order and harmony of the garden they guard. The variation in their parentage reflects the dynamic nature of mythology and the different interpretations that existed even in ancient times. This inconsistency in their number doesn't detract from their significance, but rather highlights the adaptable nature of mythology. The core elements of the myth, the garden, the golden apples, and the guardianship remain consistent, while the specific details such as the number of nymphs can vary. This allows for different interpretations and emphasis within the myth, depending on the context and the storyteller's intentions. Despite the variation in their number, some names of the Hesperides appear more frequently than others. Among the most common names are Eagle, meaning brightness or radiance, Erythea, meaning red or sunset, Hesperia, directly related to Hesperos, meaning evening or west, and Arethusa. Those names often reflect their association with the evening, sunset, and western horizon, which reinforces their role as nymphs of the west. The varying number and names of the Hesperides contribute to the richness and complexity of the myth, showcasing the dynamic nature of ancient Greek storytelling. The garden of the Hesperides was consistently placed at the western edge of the world known to the ancient Greeks, a location that held significant symbolic meaning. It also positioned their garden in a liminal space, a boundary between the familiar and the unknown, the world of the living and the realm of myth and legend. This far western location contributed to the garden's mystique, making it a place of wonder and enchantment far removed from the ordinary world. And the specific location of the garden varied slightly in different accounts as well. Some placed it near the Atlas Mountains in what is now northern Africa, a region that represented the westernmost extent of the known world for the ancient Greeks. Others situated it on a mythical island in the far west, further emphasizing its remote and otherworldly nature. Regardless of the location, the consistent association with the west reinforced the Hesperides' connection to the setting sun and the end of the day, making their garden a place of twilight and transition. This western setting also imbued the garden with a sense of mystery and allure. The setting sun, with its vibrant colors and fading light, created an atmosphere of magic and enchantment, transforming the garden into a paradise-like realm of beauty and immortality. The Hesperides, as guardians of this distant and wondrous place, embodied the allure of the unknown and the promise of extraordinary things that lay beyond the horizon. The location of their garden at the edge of the world contributed significantly to its mythical status, making it a place of both wonder and peril, a fitting destination for a hero's quest. The central significance of the Garden of Hesperides lies in its possession of the golden apples of immortality. These extraordinary fruits were believed to bestow eternal life upon anyone who consumed them, making them an object of intense desire and a potential symbol of humanity's enduring quest to conquer death. This association with immortality elevated the garden to a place of paramount importance in Greek mythology, transforming it from a mere orchard into a sacred and highly coveted realm. The apples represented not just longevity, but a complete transcendence of moral limitations, a transformation into a state of perpetual existence. This promise of immortality made the Garden of the Hesperides a natural target for heroic quests. The pursuit of the golden apples became a symbol of the hero's journey, representing the ultimate challenge to obtain the divine and overcome the limitations of mortality. Heracles' 11th labor, the task of retrieving the apples, is the most famous example of this quest. His journey to the far west, his encounters with various obstacles, and his eventual acquisition of the apples demonstrates the arduous path to achieving the extraordinary. The association with immortality also imbues the Hesperides themselves with a certain aura of the divine. As guardians of these life-giving fruits, they are closely connected to the concept of eternal life and the power to bestow it. Their role reinforces the idea that immortality is a precious and carefully guarded treasure, not easily attained by mortals. The golden apples, and by extension the Hesperides, become symbols of the divide between the mortal and the divine, representing the ultimate human aspiration and the challenges involved in bridging that gap. Ladon, the 100-headed dragon, played a crucial role in the myth of the Garden of the Hesperides as the primary guardian of the golden apples. The dragon, often depicted with a serpentine body and multiple heads, capable of emitting various sounds and voices, added a significant layer of protection to the already secluded and mythical orchard. Ladon's consistent vigilance, never sleeping and ever watchful, ensured that the precious apples remained safe from any who might attempt to steal them. His presence underscored the immense value of the apples and the lengths to which the gods went to safeguard them. The depiction of Ladon as a multi-headed dragon serves to amplify the danger and difficulty associated with obtaining the golden apples. Each head could potentially represent a different form of attack or defense, making him a truly difficult opponent. This monstrous guardian created a significant obstacle for any hero attempting to reach the apples, transforming the quest into a true test of courage and strength. Ladon's presence also adds a sense of primordial chaos to the otherwise idyllic setting of the garden, representing the forces of nature that must be overcome to attain the divine. Ladon's ultimate defeat at the hands of Heracles, as part of his 11th labor, symbolizes the hero's triumph over chaos and his ability to overcome even the most difficult obstacles. Depending on the version of the myth, Heracles either kills Ladon with his strength and weapons or tricks Atlas into taking the apples while he holds up the sky, which circumvents the need to confront the dragon directly. Regardless of the method, Ladon's defeat signifies the hero's successful completion of this task and his attainment of the divine prize. The dragon's role as guardian becomes essential to the heroic narrative. In Heracles' 11th labor, the retrieval of the golden apples from the garden of Hesperides is one of the most iconic episodes in his cycle of 12 labors. The task was particularly challenging, not only because of the garden's remote location at the edge of the world, but also due to the guardians protecting the precious fruit. Heracles' journey to reach the garden involved numerous encounters and trials demonstrating his strength, cunning, and perseverance. The various versions of the myth offer different accounts of how Heracles ultimately got the apples. The most popular version involves his encounter with Atlas, where Heracles offers to temporarily take Atlas's burden while Atlas retrieves the apples. However, upon his return, Atlas, enjoying his newfound freedom, is reluctant to resume his task. So Heracles then tricks Atlas into briefly taking back the sky so he can adjust his padding, allowing him to escape with the apples. There are other versions that depict Heracles slaying Ladon himself and gaining access to the garden and its treasures. These variations highlight Heracles' diverse attributes as a hero, showcasing both his brute strength and his intellect. But regardless of the specific details of the acquisition, Heracles is still successful in the completion of this labor, which solidified his status as a legendary hero. The golden apples represents immortality and divine power, and were a fitting reward for his extraordinary efforts. The quest for the apples became a powerful symbol of the heroic journey, involving a perilous quest, encounters with mythical creatures, and a triumphant return. Heracles' 11th labor not only added to his impressive list of accomplishments, but also further cemented the significance of the Garden of Hesperides as a place of great power and mystery. The garden, with its golden apples and watchful guardians, is rich in symbolism, representing several key concepts in Greek mythology and human experience. The most prominent symbol is immortality, embodied by the golden apples themselves. These fruits, which are capable of granting eternal life, represents humanity's enduring desire to transcend mortality and achieve a state of perpetual existence. The garden, as the exclusive source of these apples, becomes a symbol of the ultimate human aspiration, a paradise-like realm where the limitations of death are overcome. The garden's location, a place of mystery in the setting sun, further contributes to its symbolic significance. It represents the allure of the unknown, the desire to explore the boundaries of the world and venture into uncharted territories. The Hesperides, as guardians of this distant and enigmatic place, embody this allure, representing the beauty and mystery of the unexplored. The journey to reach the garden becomes a metaphor for the human desire to push beyond the familiar and discover the extraordinary. The presence of both the Hesperides and Ladon within the garden creates a powerful symbolic contrast between order and chaos. The garden itself, with its carefully cultivated trees and divine fruit, represents a state of harmony and order, a paradise protected from the outside world. Ladon, the 100-headed dragon, embodies the forces of chaos and disruption, a constant threat to the garden's tranquility. The conflict between Heracles and Ladon becomes a symbolic representation of the eternal struggle between order and chaos, with the hero's victory signifying the triumph over the forces of disruption. The garden in its entirety represents a microcosm of the cosmos, with its delicate balance between these opposing forces. The myth of Hesperides, with its enchanting garden, golden apples, and heroic quests, has captivated artists and writers for centuries, inspiring numerous works across various artistic mediums. The imagery of the beautiful nymphs, the gleaming fruit, and Heracles' struggles has provided a rich source of inspiration for painters, sculptors, poets, and authors. These artistic interpretations have not only retold the myth, but also explored its deeper symbolic messages and its enduring relevance to the human condition.